Folks, welcome into the Crossing Swords postgame show. I'm your host, Ty B, joined by Kanzi and Jake Micah. The Buffalo Sabres drop this one 5-3 to the New Jersey Devils. We got goals from Curtis Lazar, Rasmus Dahlin, and Rasmus Ristolainen, but 2 goals each from McLeod and Miles Wood with that late empty netter put the Devils over the top with a 5-3 win. And both these teams sitting in the standings with 10 points now, just outside of the playoffs. Kanzi, for you, what do you grade the Sabres on this performance here?
I'd have to say a D plus, just because I think they needed to come out of this game with a point, maybe two, and the Devils are down to like their third, fourth string goaltender, maybe fifth, but it's incredible that they can't even get a solid performance from their backup goaltender to get them one point or get to overtime. So the team just looked a little lackadaisical today at times and a little sloppy. I think the sloppiness in the first two periods caught up to them in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw some of those easy saves that should have been made, and that's exactly what's going to cost you in the long run of this season. If you're not able to make those plays, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation where you're going to have to overcome leads late. Jake, the Sabres just weren't able to come back in this one today.
Yeah, I just they were fighting uphill literally from the start of the game, and it was just one of those days for the team. We see it all too often, and I mean, I know that I've been at the beginning of the year trying to preach patience, but these are games that these are winnable games that they want to get ahead and get that separation in the standings. It was good to get the win yesterday. Obviously, you got to look at it as like a series with the way that it's all set up. So it's good they took one from this team. This team, the Devils wanted to come in and play for Lindy probably just as much as anything else. I think that they wanted to at least get one for him coming back to Buffalo. But it just looked like you said, Kanzi, they just looked lackadaisical and they were just battling uphill the whole time. And every time it was one step forward, 2 steps back. And it's just one of those days for the group.
Absolutely. And speaking about one of those guys, though, who had a great performance again, Risto, his stock is absolutely rising. Ristolainen has been having a great season so far. He has some of the best numbers of any defenseman in the league. Him and McCabe have been a great pairing thus far. Risto gets a goal today and an assist, I believe, on that one deflected shot. So it's great to see him getting more involved and getting on that stat sheet, Kanzi.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say a couple of years ago, I was like, trade Ristolainen, trade Ristolainen, trade Ristolainen. But from what I've seen this season, and I know everyone's been tweeting and DMing me the video of Ristolainen not shooting the puck against the Rangers the other night. That was the first game of the season that he wasn't consistent, that he didn't play well. And again, it goes back to, are you going to take the beautiful picture of the season and look at the one pixel that's off? Okay, because, he's been playing real well. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Ristolainen's been the MVP of this team. He's been the most consistent player. He's been in position. He's been setting guys up. One bad game does not determine a whole season for them. Just like a turnover by Jack Eichel the other night does not make him a terrible player either.
Mm-hmm. And the one problem with this team today, you look at the shot chart, shout out Natural Stat Trick for this one. You see where the Devils were getting their shots all up in close. They were giving up too many shots in close, but a lot of that also comes with Carter Hutton and his rebound control. Today, it was not there, and we've seen over the past 2 seasons when his rebound control isn't there, that's when he really struggles, Jake.
Yeah, it doesn't help with a defense that needs help. Like the defense needs help from their goaltender in that regard because they have issues in front of the net. Like that's always been an issue with this since last year. I don't know if it's Kruger or just the defense core in general, but they have trouble picking up guys in front of the net. There's so many times where there's good opportunities right in front, and Hutton is not a goalie you can do that for. Hutton's a great first stop goalie, like outside, like on the rush. I think he plays aggressive and plays that out well, but in front of the net and in those dirty areas, like they are not a team made for that. They don't have a guy that like Risto is really Risto and McCabe. I think that's why they've been so beneficial for them this year because they're really the only 2 guys that can pull that off for them on that defense core. But other than that, like Hutton's a guy that needs a lot of help in front of the net. And I think honestly, the defense from the forwards is not from the centers is lacking. Like Cody Eakin's a good defensive forward, but I want to see more from Eichel and Hall or Eichel and Stahl down there helping out and getting involved in those kind of plays in front of the net. Cause I think they're huge guys. And I just think that they're looking for a lot of offensive opportunities, but they need to just be back there and help out in front of the net, especially with Hutton in net. With Ullmark, it's not as bad, but with Hutton, definitely a focus for them.
Absolutely. And we got a special guest, a regular on this show. We got Dwayne back in here. Dwayne, you were out watching this game. You predicted a Sabres loss. How do you feel after it?
I mean, no different than I felt going in. I said from the beginning, you don't start Carter Hutton today. You just don't. You're getting ready. Sooner rather than later, you're going to start playing teams like Boston and Philly, where these 1-point games are going to be few and far in between. Like, where you might be able to get into overtime and at least get a point out of it. These are the games you got to get 2 from, and you got to start creating some separation in this division. And playing Carter Hutton made no sense to me today. You have if Linus Ullmark is a competitor, if Linus Ullmark is a real goaltender, when I say real goaltender, as goalies, we want to be in the net as often as possible. Like you asked, I brought this up in the pregame. You look at goalies like Marty Brodeur. You look at goalies like Dominik Hasek. Ryan Miller. Like they wanted to be in the net as often as they could because they knew their role and they know how good they are and they know they gave their team the best chance to win. So if Linus Ullmark is that guy, he should go straight to Ralph and say, "This is no offense against Carter Hutton, but I want the net tonight. I want to be in net." That's what a starting goalie is, and that's what they should be doing. And I'm sorry if that's an old school way of thinking, but it's just my opinion. This whole goalies can't do back-to-back crap is garbage. I'm sorry. The athletes then compared to now, the advancement in nutrition and athletic like training and just everything that goes into it is so much more advanced. It's mind-blowing. And to think that a goalie, even doing 6 and 10 or back-to-back, that Ullmark can't do that is garbage to me. It is absolute garbage. And honest to God, with all the mistakes made today in today's game that led to this loss for me is on Ralph Kruger not trusting his goaltender enough to go back out there and win another game. That's crap.
Absolutely. And we got more special guests joining us from the Trainwreck Sports Network. We have Maniac and we have Degenerate Al. One man, the aforementioned Maniac, was all over Carter Hutton. Have a great day. Degenerate Al was a Sabres better. 2 different reactions on this one. Maniac, where are your thoughts? Where's your hat after the Sabres loss?
I mean, if you take away the first minute and last minute of every period, Carter Hutton had a great game. But I hear you on Ullmark. And Dwayne, I hear your point on Ullmark, but it wasn't necessarily a back-to-back. It was the fact it would have been a 6th game in 10 days. We went through Brodeur or Hasek those seasons. Nobody was doing that, Dwayne. Dwayne, you're talking about how people do that. Nobody does that. Don't be saying that Ullmark should do it in an age where athletes get more rest than ever. Athletes get more rest than ever, and you're trying to say I get it. You want the win against the Devils. I'm not going to lie. My heart is broken. This is a very, very tough game to lose here. But at the end of the day, you took 2 out of 4 of possible points, and you're going to need Ullmark down the line against those Bruins, against those Flyers. So, I mean, I don't know. That's where I'm at. It's very disappointing, the loss, but I can't put it all on Hutton. He's getting breakaways and golden chances.
That goal at the end of the period was absolute garbage. Learn how to control a rebound. You're a professional goaltender.
Wait, what about all the other chances? What about all the other chances?
Corner, not right out in front. He did that twice today. And that last goal for that's garbage, man. That is
absolute you're calling those goals garbage. How many breakaways did the Devils have today, Dwayne? Over, under 5?
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? 5 breakaways. The NHL is unacceptable.
They're garbage.
It's unacceptable. It doesn't matter if you have Patrick Waugh with a brick wall behind him in net.
Like literally,
it doesn't matter if it's Dominik Hasek.
Maniac, you're going to sit here and tell me that defensively, this team is garbage, and you need your best goaltender in net. Honestly, as often
for a 56-game schedule, not for a back-to-back against the Devils.
He shouldn't even be in the league.
I agree on Hutton. I agree we need to upgrade the goalie. Nobody disagrees with that.
He shouldn't even be in the league. He should not even be in the league. Put Johansson in that then. Carter Hutton should not be in the NHL.
Who signed Carter Hutton?
That was
Jason
Botterill.
That was Botterill.
He botched it.
GMJV.
With him. Like we just saw
The fact that did anybody ever get fired for the fact that Carter Hutton couldn't see for 2 years and like nobody said anything?
And I don't
feel
know
like somebody should have got fired.
And who did the LASIK? Was it Fichte, Endo, or Elmer? Because someone's got to fess up. They really messed up this time. They botched that surgery. But Al, we got to send it to Al as a better on the Sabres today. You believed in him. I think you had him regulation. You had him money line. You were all over the Sabres. What are your thoughts after this one?
I mean, I just put something out, but it's like you're playing a team that's missing half their players. They're starting goaltenders who I've never heard of. It's sad. It doesn't make any sense. And
Oh no.
Oh no.
I have a feeling that was about to be the greatest Sabres take of all time.
This is the best take ever.
That
It's
means
literally-
that needs to be screenshotted right now.
Grabbing on my
Someone take a screenshot. Whoever's tuning in right now. Shout out to everyone tuning in on the Buffalo Sabres postgame show.
All right, Al. Sorry,
Degenerate Al, yeah.
what? Yeah, I keep spinning around. I don't know what's going on. But what I was trying to say was, like, I see what Maniac's point is. Like, Carter Hutton should be able to start and should be able to beat this team. But at the same time, too, it is a shortened season. These 2 points are critical. Allmark won the game pretty much the day before.
And got us a point the night before.
Yeah, it's just super frustrating. It's super sad. And, like, it's very tough to watch this team. And what's next? We're on national television against the Islanders?
Yep.
Like, it's scary.
No. Get Dewey Crocs. We need Dewey Crocs in here right now.
He ain't even up yet.
See, this is the thing, though. People think I'm defending Hutton. People are taking this. People are taking my thing saying the team is playing terrible as to me saying I love Hutton. Hutton did not play great today. But if the Sabres literally came even close to matching the Devils, they would have at least got a point today. And that's the bottom line because I say so.
Maniac, that goes to my point. We already know we don't have that team right now. We don't have that team. So why are we rolling out Carter Hutton? And honestly, in my opinion, in a must-win game, this is a game you have to win. You have to win this game. You have to start creating separation between you and those other teams for when you get into these Boston series where you might be, if you're lucky, you might split that series. You have to start creating separation now more than ever. And
all right, we got a question. We got a question here for Maniac from Western New York Sports. Maniac, if Omar got a shutout yesterday, would you still be defending starting Hutton today?
It's really the 6 games in 10 days thing. I understand not. I mean, if he got a shutout, yeah, I'd say start him. But I understand. If I could have hit a button, if it could have been Olmark or Hutton for me today, I'm hitting Olmark. I'm not like I'm not an idiot. But like you have to start Hutton at some point, or you have to start your backup goalie at some point, whoever that is for the Sabres. Again, they're in a terrible situation with Hutton. They should have fixed that a long time. But you want to be so upset about something today. You want to be so furious. Like, I mean, I don't even want it to don't even get me into the chances. If you look at any of the stuff from any of the analytical stuff, the Sabres got fucking wiped today analytically all over the ice 5-on-5. Where is Taylor Hall? Where is Taylor Hall? I don't know. This guy is doing less than nothing. I saw a tweet today that said that this guy is Cody Hodgson without the cap hit. If this guy's Cody Hodgson without the cap hit, I'm literally going to just go jump off my deck right now.
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, he's got a goal and 8 assists so far on the season coming into this one. But I do understand what you're talking about. You want him to be able to do things, whether when he's not with Jack Eichel and Sam Reinhart. That her line was really purring, but they struggle without Reinhart in the lineup today a little bit. That first line not able to really get anything done here. Kanzi, Jake, haven't heard from you guys in a little bit here. When you're looking at this loss here, how much are you putting it on the goaltending and how much are you putting it on the poor defense? We saw the way that heat map played out for them.
I'm forever going to die on the hill that this team needs another defenseman in the works because like they don't have a guy that can go out and shut down. Like as good as Ristolainen and McCabe, like in my perfect world of this team, that should still be the second pairing that you can go trust to just play against anybody. They're like Jake McCabe and Ristolainen top out as great second pairing guys. They are not the first. They should not be your first pairing, and that's obviously the hope with Dahlin. And I talked about it in the other intermissions too. Like Dahlin needs a partner, bro. Like he needs somebody that they can just go out and be like, Yeah, and just somebody that they can just be like, oh, that's the Dahlin and insert defenseman here pairing, and that's the pairing that you want out for the Sabres for 25 minutes a game. They don't have a 25-minute a game guy on the defense, and it shows every single game.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, where the hell is Will Borgen in this? Like, all we do is we hear about how this guy is, oh, he's an up-and-comer with Rochester. Great guy, big body. Well, then freaking play him! Like, take him off the taxi squad and play him. Like, what the hell are we
No,
doing?
you got Matt Irwin, dude. The worst boots on the team.
Like,
Matt
okay,
Irwin.
fine. He had a good game the other night, but, like,
I know.
give Will Borgen a chance. Like, where are these young guys we've heard about for the last 3 years? Put them up there. Put up or shut up. Find your guy. Like, you're not going to find your guy doing the same thing every night. Oh, I'm going to roll out this pairing, Montour and Dahlin. Well, guess what? Montour and Dahlin don't freaking work together. So do something.
No.
You got two
tired of it.
You got two
Can't do
puck-carrying defensemen who don't play a defensive style of hockey. You need, just to what Jake's point, you need a stay-at-home guy to be on the blue line with Rasmus Dahlin, because then it frees up Rasmus to take more chances and really showcase that skill that got him drafted first overall. He can't really do all that because defensively, Brandon Montour isn't that guy who's going to make up for any mistake he might make. So he can't really take the chances you want to see him take. A lot of the
exactly.
in the past. And
It's like they've never played NHL and played be a GM mode. You have to put offensive defensemen with defensive defensemen. You put two-way defensemen with two-way defensemen. It's really not that hard. Offensively, you put your snipers with a playmaker and a two-way forward, and that's how you win games. I don't know what they're doing. It shouldn't be that hard for Ralph Kruger. He wrote a book on leadership in German. This should be
it's
basic stuff for him.
That's why.
In German, yeah.
They can't read it. They don't know how to read it.
I will put it all on Hutton. Like, I don't put this whole game on Hutton. I put more on coaching because, you come out of yesterday's game and you say in your post game that Jeff Skinner earned a spot to play with Jack Eichel, but then you reward him by putting him back down on the fourth line when you have a Sam Reinhart injury, and you promote Casey Middlestat to the first line. The guy didn't even come in the camp in good enough shape to make the roster. Like, it makes no sense anymore. Like, if you're coaching to win that game, you realize, okay, maybe my way of thinking, maybe to me that feels correct. But right now, I have to create enough offense to win games for the lack of defense and the lack of goaltending in this game. So why is Jeff Skinner still on your fourth line playing 10 minutes a night?
He's not on the fourth line. That's why.
Did he start the game on the fourth line? I'm almost positive he did.
He played with Stahl today.
He moved up.
I saw him.
And then of course Stahl chooses to have his worst game of the season by far.
Stahl was a joke today.
I know he was a hero. He was a hero yesterday.
Yeah,
Stahl and Cousins were legit. Like, they were getting into a groove 2 games ago where I thought, like, wow, if we get like Hall going, Eichel, Reinhart, like, there's almost no way we don't make the playoffs with the momentum going. And then they dropped a dud today from Stahl. It was terrible. And the worst thing,
I saw Skinner out there a couple times with Riley Sheehan. So
that was the very beginning of the game, first shift.
Middlestat was on for the extra attacker, by the way. So they liked what they were getting from him today. I mean, no, I don't like just to, because I know we like all perspectives. It's ridiculous peripherally that he was in there, but I mean, our analytical people are saying he had one of the more better games at 5-on-5 today. I think it's hard not to believe.
You know what, dude? You know what? Honestly, can I just jump in here? Analytics. Like, I'm so tired of analytics. I am. I love analytics. Maniac, this isn't directed at you. I hope.
I'm not an analytics guy. I just use it to
it's just like
analytically,
this team just lost to the Devils. Like, shove your analytics out the window. Figure it out. They need more than just analytics.
Yeah, but I mean, you could still figure out who did well and who did bad.
I know you could, but I'm saying, like, there's more than just analytics. Like, we invested millions in our analytic department. Well, it hasn't worked for 10 years. Yeah, like, I don't know what else. What are we supposed to do?
Well, there's no analytical department. All I'm saying right now that told you going into this year that Carter Hutton should definitely be your guy for like 15 to 24 games.
Right.
I don't care what computer system you use or anything like that, for sure.
And the sad thing is, there was so many goalies available in the offseason. So many goalies, and you just didn't. You got Dustin Tokarski, to sit in Rochester. Like, and again, going back to Jake's point again, like, I was a big I know Travis Hamonic wanted to play in Western Canada for family reasons, but I was so all over. I wanted Travis Hamonic for months and months and months after last season ended. And I get it, but that's the type of player you need on your blue line to play with Dahlin. A guy who is going to play well in front of his own net, who's going to sit back and make up for the mistakes that Dahlin might make and just takes that pressure off your 20-year-old Swedish defenseman who was drafted first overall to make the highlight reel plays, to make the other play, the incredible plays that most other defensemen can't make. And we haven't seen that yet this year because you have two guys on the same pairing that just don't work well together. They're the same exact defenseman.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen some rotations on the lines, but we're not seeing a lot of rotations on the pairings. I don't know if that's something that we're going to see a little bit of a shakeup here. I think Maniac, I think you'd be a big proponent of that one.
I'm sorry, what?
Of switching up these pairings.
I mean, yeah, it's like you guys said. Dahlin needs to be with a guy, a stay-at-home defenseman. I mean, I think Ristolainen and McCabe are decent. It's exactly like Jake said. They're a great two. If you can get them in the spot at their two, then that would be an amazing pairing there. And I like any Buffalo fan, I always have a tough time getting away from the game that was just played. One of the worst things about the loss today, did we get Ristolainen's best game of the season?
Yeah, we did.
It wasn't a defensive liability. He made plays in the offensive zone. And even when the empty net situation was going, he made about 2 to 3 really nice keep-ins and everything. So it was really disappointing to lose that. But yeah, I mean, if you're Ralph, you got to change something up. And I'm not talking about putting Skinner back to the fourth line or doing anything like that. Keep your playmakers up top. Your bottom six is going to suck. But like they've seen so far, this is the funniest thing, is that Sabres Twitter was going nuts all offseason about Eakin. Eakin was going to be a liability. He's won faceoffs. He's getting them puck possession. He's doing what they need to do. Tobias Reeder, and not a flashy name, but every time he's out there, I'm really not worried about him making a mistake for the most part. Like, he's not going to do something that costs me. He's a pretty reliable player.
Exactly.
So we've been getting from those guys. It's the other guys we need to jimble jamble.
No, exactly. And I think that's exactly where it is. It's like you're shifting up everything, but you're not switching up the defensive pairings. I think that's where you're kind of struggling right now. You're giving up those shots, way too many in front of the net today, especially. I know a lot of it is to do with those rebounds, but still, you're not marking up guys, etc. We got a great comment in here. Sabres Analytics Department runs Windows XP. Yeah, they probably do. That's exactly why it's absolutely garbage. They can't figure things out. They haven't for a long time. But let's get some closing thoughts here on this game to wrap up this win. We'll go around the horn here. We'll go Kanzi, Jake, Maniac, and Dwayne to wrap things up.
I certainly think it all comes down to, like Maniac was saying with Taylor Hall and Jack Eichel too. We talked about in the intermissions. They got to get these guys playing a little more comfortable in their skin. I mean, it just looks like sometimes Eichel's doing everything he can, but they got to get going. At some point, they've got to get going. They've got to be getting shots every time they're out there. They need to be getting shots out there, and it just, for me, it's sad to see that this team still hasn't figured it out on the first line. The assists, they're creating plays. But I want to see more pucks go in the back of the net. I know that's just how I see it. So apparently Dwayne may not think that way. But
with you, the same thing. Like they get the chances in bursts, but there's no sustained. Very little times. It's 5 minutes of sustained pressure, and then something happens, and there's an adjustment made, and they can't figure out. They don't make good adjustments. This team on the fly. They come in with decent game plans sometimes, and then they get something thrown in their face, like a goal 20 seconds into the game, and it all just goes crazy and goes haywire for them. My focus is we were just talking about the D pairings. I want to see, can we see Dahlin and Ristolainen and maybe Montour and McCabe together? And maybe, I know we don't want to split up, maybe one of the best pairings right now, but these guys need some help. They want to diversify the scoring and the power through all four lines. Why is it not the same throughout the D pairings? Putting Montour and Irwin out there together was just, I just don't understand a move like that to just help these guys out. Like a guy like Irwin, who hasn't even played that much, you're going to put him with one of your weakest defenders. It just doesn't make sense to me. If they're good defenders, they should be able to play with each other. These guys don't need to be locked in together. So I think that you want to get Dahlin going and get him going with Ristolainen. If Risto's playing this confidently, he should be able to handle playing with somebody like that, I feel like.
Wow, that was a fire point from Jake right there. Get more from him on TrainwreckSports.com, and make sure you're subscribing on YouTube. Get all this good stuff. I'm not going to go on forever. At the end of the day, Sabres started 0-2. Right now, they're in a very good position after the first 9 to 10 games, given that. So let's forget about this. Let's just throw away the film, because I hope if they're letting teams walk into their defensive zone like they were letting the Devils today, it's going to be a very long season, regardless of who's in goals. So let's get on the right path. Let's take this off day. Let's get our minds right. Let's go back to getting 3 out of 4 points in these 2 game bunches.
Nope, absolutely. Dwayne, wrap it up for us.
Yeah, piggybacking off what Jake said, I couldn't agree more. I do think that first line, when it's healthy, I mean, those are problems I think will fix themselves. Personally, I think you just have too much talent on that line to just not eventually start to heat up and start clicking. You see the chances being created. You see how well. You mean the other team doesn't get the puck out of the zone when they're clicking on the ice together. Like 5-on-5, they are in the zone. They are burying down constantly. The puck just needs to start going in the back of the net. So I'm hoping, eventually that problem will fix itself. I think another solution is obviously to give Jeff Skinner a more prominent role in this lineup. You saw today playing on that second line with Dylan Cousins, but again, I hate to say this because I don't want to have to say you have to move Hall down. I personally think that if Jeff Skinner is the goal scorer he's always been, there's no reason he can't play on his off wing and play on the right side. Why not give him time on the right side with Jack and Hall? I've been an advocate of that since the beginning. This big analytical thing about Sam Reinhart, how good he is and how good of an all-around player he is. But if that's all true, then he should be able to sit on his own line without being attached to the hip to Jack, and be able to be not just as productive, but be able to drive his own line on a second or even third line. That's where I think you could start to try and fix some of these issues, because you need to get Jeff Skinner heated up, because we saw what he did 2 years ago while playing with Jack. The guy went on an absolute tear and scored 40 goals. Secondly, you have to figure out your defensive pairings. Again, I can't stress enough what Jake said. You have to find a rhythm for Dahlin that works for him, a partner that works for him, to the point where we can start to see shades of what we saw the first couple of years of them, because we're not seeing it right now at all. You're not seeing the same. You're seeing a very timid Rasmus Dahlin, who's not as willing to take the chances offensively that we're used to seeing his first 2 years in the league. And it's true. And I think part of that is in Kruger's system, he's expected to probably be a little bit more defensive minded. He's just not that guy. I mean, yeah, a defenseman's job first and foremost is to play defense, but that's not the game he played to get picked to first overall. He's an elite puck moving offensive defenseman. That's what he's always been. And he's not that right now in Ralph Kruger's system. So maybe Ralph needs to adjust his system to accommodate the skill set of his players. And that's a fact. And lastly, you got to hand, Carter Hutton his walking papers. You got to like, you have to. And get me wrong, I'm sure. And here's a big thing with me too, as a goalie, your partner is so important. The support you get from him. You never want to have an overly competitive goalie room, because that doesn't really lead to good things, in my opinion, because you want to know you have support from your backup goaltender. And I'm sure Linus Ullmark has gotten that through a very difficult time of his life from Carter Hutton. You've seen a lot of these Sabres embedded videos with them too. They seem like they're thick as thieves, but that can only go so far. You really need to. Honest to God, we had Jean-Luc Rampierre on Two Goalies One Mike last year, and he flat out said he fully expects that either Elvis or Korpisalo will be gone by the end of next season. And it makes sense. You have two goalies that both want to play a lot. And come playoffs, they're both going to want to play. You want to be the guy. If you're a goaltender, if you're a real competitor in that position, you want to be the guy playing all the important games. And that seems to be what they have in Columbus. That just seems to be a situation that makes so much sense to me. Go out and pay what it takes to get a guy like Korpisalo.
I think everybody says no. That would have been a good trade. Would that have been a good trade a year and a half ago?
Korpisalo?
No. For Georgia. Georgia's stock was skyrocketing.
Yeah, no shot.
Nobody, no. But Dwayne, that's a perfect summation of this game and where we need to be headed as fans, and what we want for this team going forward. And that's the perfect wrap up for us. But there's one last thing I got to get, because four of us of the five are going to be watching this Royal Rumble tonight very passionately. Just go real quick. Just give me who you think is going to win. Jake, Maniac, Dwayne, and myself, and then we'll wrap this one up.
I'm going John Cena, bro. I'm trying to will this into existence. Give me John Cena back. Give me John Cena, Roman Reigns. I just want him to be. I want him to show up on Friday night, and I think that's your money match. That's your money match. It's better than Goldberg. It's either that or Goldberg. I can't do any more Goldberg.
It's just setting in for me that a John Cena's music hitting tonight would be like kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
like
yeah.
even like I don't
it
care.
comes
Regardless of
full
whether he
circle.
wins tonight, if it goes to Royal Rumble, his music has to be sick. I am gonna go final two guys that have been battling out for it. Edge and Daniel Bryan. It's gonna come down to them. Daniel Bryan is gonna lose. Edge is gonna go on to WrestleMania.
I'm gonna go a final three. I'm not gonna go a final two. I think it's gonna be Big E, Daniel Bryan, and my heart says Edge, but my head says Cesaro. You know, those are guys that they're really pushing hard right now. You see Cesaro starting to get this into the singles push. So, but I think, you know, money says Big E takes this whole thing.
Hey guys, I just want to interrupt here for a second. I think Dwayne The Rock Johnson is going to win it tonight. I had a little conversation with my boy Matt Perino, and we decided that The Rock
Don't talk to me about Matt
is
Perino.
the greatest
Perino
is
human
not
being
about this
ever.
program. You
And
listen to me.
yes,
Matt Perino is watching and listening. You tell Matt Perino he comes to Dwayne-O-Mania, he's gonna get the fists. He's gonna get the power bomb, and most of all, he's gonna get the Stone Cold Stunner, bro.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson's my pick.
Wow. I like Keith Lee plus 700. I think you get a little value. I
love
love
that.
Keith Lee as a wrestler, super athletic, big guy. I think he gives you a ton of things he can do going forward if he's a champion or pushing for a championship. I absolutely love Keith Lee since they've debuted him. But
Oh,
that'll
so
wrap it up for the Crossing Swords post-game show. For myself, Joseph Conzi, Jake Micah, Maniac, Dwayne, Degenerate Al, who was in here earlier. Make sure you guys stay tuned to @TrainwreckSpurts on Twitter for more Cross Swords Pod, @2goalies1mic for more Sabres coverage, and TrainwreckSports.com. We have more coming out on a consistent basis. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's go, Buffalo.